Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take a quick look here again at Bitcoin, see what's going on, help you understand best practice and big picture. We're going to look at some macro stuff, but also more so back-end data. Try to keep it quick, of course, for you here on this Monday morning. But again, we did peak at macro yesterday, and generally speaking, we're looking in good shape in the large-term time frame. We are in really good shape overall, but generally speaking, at this point, we got to recognize that there's still potential for a pullback, at least in the short term. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the liquidation first and kind of go from there. If you could, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear your thoughts. And when we come to Bitcoin back-end data, we're looking at 70,000, really close to, just about right below that. Remember, 69,000 is that heavier concentration of liquidation. You can see that reflected on the monthly here. There's a lot, folks. Okay, so we got 7 billion here. 8 and 8 there. So wow, we're talking a good like 23 to 25 billion at the range of about 69,000. So that level seems likely to get hit at some point, obviously. Is it going to get hit right now? It's hard to say specifically. Bitcoin is fairly well ranging at this range between 66 and 68.5. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but generally speaking, when we look at the big picture here for the more recent relevant last 7 days, tons of liquidation on the downside too. Okay, so again, minus the sweep to the upper level there, about 70K, there's a strong chance we're going to see the price pull back here. So there's one of two things that could happen. I mean, the price could literally sweep this upper level of liquidation and then run down towards the CME gap that we have on CME futures, back as low as 58.5 to 60.9. Or we could see neither of those things happen. We could be range bound for quite some time. I don't think that's very likely considering how volatile the market has been, but either way, that's something still that could exist. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Kind of just double check a few things here. So the weekly, as we looked at this here before, when I talked about this being above the 20-day SMA is huge, right? We closed above that, it's awesome, but we really need to close above 66,000 this week or higher to have that continuation potential. Because you can't just close over a moving average, for one day. It helps to have an average price there because that brings sustainability, right? That implies the price is less willing to drop that level. We also look here as well, we can see 67,000 rather, is still that point of control. So right now we're at 67.2. There's a decent chance we'll see 67K hold. Again, that's just kind of a consideration there for the big picture. And secondary to that, if you recall, it's right around 63,000 here. The most recent point of control is close to between 63 and 64. Okay, so being above or below that level is perfectly fine. So again, the range that we have established over the last few, ever since February, is 63 to 67,000 being kind of the heaviest areas of volume. And that implies that we have sustainability in that range. So again, price pulls back below 67,000. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's par for the course and natural to be able to correct itself. We do take a look at RSI. We're over 50. Fantastic. Most everything's looking great here, especially stochastic RSI, and that's generally a favorable sign for further upside. So we can summarize the weekly's looking good. Daily's the same thing here as well. We're above all moving averages. In fact, the lowest moving average is at 64,300. That lower fib level there, that 0.386. So, or sorry, correction, 0.786 rather. And if you look at these numbers here, we can kind of see that the overall sense is that we should see the price pull back because we have effectively hit our, we've swung our fifth wave to the top here. Okay. Now again, that's not a guarantee that can always continue to progress. But as we establish a little bit lower lows and lower highs here, it would make more sense for us to see an ABC pattern coming up. When we do take a look at the RSI, we can recognize that between 50 and 70 on the RSI is positive, generally favorable, but getting rejected closer to that 70 level, that resistance makes sense. It does imply, though, that we could very well see the price action gravitate towards 69 to 70,000, because there's still more room left here without topping out. And we haven't officially topped out, but if you see money flow index, it's super high. Without getting more volume, it's going to be hard to be able to push and break through that resistance. Again, you got to keep in mind, just because there's a heavy concentration of liquidation doesn't mean it's going to get swept exactly, at least not right now, because there's a ton of resistance at that level. That's basically what it implies. It tells us that many people feel that that level is worth shorting. And I would side with that. We secured some profits yesterday as well from a short trade we have on Bitcoin. And it's just kind of the way that it goes when the price is overextended like it is. Okay. Again, you don't just buy into overextension, but generally speaking here, at this point, things are starting to calm down and retrace, which is very normal. We actually want this. So do not misinterpret the market right now. Keep in mind alts are red here today because again, Bitcoin pulled back from that 68 to 67,000 level fairly quick. But also, most alts have been overextended for some time. So you're going to have statistically large probability, or I can't speak. So let's rephrase that. The price action is looking good, but most altcoins are going to drop mainly because Bitcoin dominance is starting to plateau and increase, but also mainly because they've been overextended for some time. And I'll cover some alts here again here soon just to clarify kind of what that looks like. But I'm kind of just summarizing the fact that it makes sense to see a red day because we had such a green, late last week and throughout the weekend. Okay, so again, standard stuff, folks. This is nothing to be concerned about. Taking a look here at the RSI, we can see that tapering off down closer to 50, but not quite there yet. Money flow index is dropping, which is standard as well for profits being taken. So this is kind of just normal par for the course stuff here. Keep in mind, even though we are diverging on stochastic and MACD here, it still doesn't mean the sky is going to fall. It just implies that we have a shift in momentum. That momentum may stop out here soon because if you look at this, we got moving averages hanging out. We got some really good support ranges coming up here. Okay, so my speculation is that the price action, if it pulls back here, it would probably be somewhere in the range of 66,000 to bounce off this most recent high. Okay, so this is kind of like the important level here. I'll go ahead and change the color of that just to kind of get perspective on things. But at this point here, we're honoring the ascending trend line. We're still over the most recent high. There's a solid chance the price will continue to maintain itself. If we lose 66,000, then I do think we're going to see probably a run towards those lower 60s as a distinct possibility. Looking at the hourly, let's quickly note here, this is something that's important to recognize. We're finally testing the cloud here. We're kind of hitting that upper lead. The conversion line is above the baseline, showing we have good momentum, good strength, but the lagging span soon to intersect. So from a conservative standpoint, this indicator is letting us know that we should probably consider securing profits. So again, a lot of different schools of thought here, but generally speaking, this is not a negative or bad situation. We can see a lot of Fibonacci retracement levels holding fairly consistent. This 0.236 fib, for example, hanging out right there exactly at that point of control. So to me, a closure at 67.2 today, or just a round number of 67,000 or higher, would imply we're probably likely to continue higher up and maybe sweep that upper level liquidity. If we see a closure below 67,000, I would venture to guess that 66,000 will be the likely next target there as the most recent high and or close to this 0.5 fib level. And again, extreme worst case scenario, I would say 65.2 to 64.3, those lower levels there for that more recent relevant point of control, about 65K. All right, so again, I'll post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. And if you are part of our premium group, you will know probably by now that I do have a trade alert section where I highlight specific details for these coins that I'm interested in trading. So I'll go ahead and get you, of course, updates throughout the day through there as well. That's a newer feature for our members there. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's offered recommendations and considerations and being patient, of course, because obviously, the market will shift and it's dynamic. You got to stay fluent and liquid and make sure that you are adjusting for the market. Okay, you can't just do the same thing over and over again. There are some things that still work. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But when it breaks, you absolutely need to fix it. I would notice every 3 to 6 months, cryptocurrency has a way of forcing you to change. So just be mindful of that. And again, thanks again to my community for just being part of that. It's awesome. So I look forward to working with you. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site link down below. If not, that's cool too. Be sure to join us over with BitUnix, Phenomenal Exchange, link down below. Excellent rewards. You use my link to register. These guys are awesome. No KYC or VPN. We've been using them for almost a year now as a community, and I can tell you what, they are extremely beneficial. So thanks again, BitUnix. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.